Alright guys, welcome back to another one. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about modding Marvel Rivals and the questions surrounding it. With uploading the showcase that I did a couple of days ago, I've received so many questions to do with this exact topic. While I briefly explained a couple of things, I thought I'd dedicate a video to answering all of the questions that I have received. The number one thing here that I keep seeing is, can these get you in trouble? If I install these mods, will I get banned? So it's a bit of a tricky question to answer. Yes, technically you can get banned if you are using mods, and we're pretty much just talking about cosmetic mods here, as this is the bulk of the mod content available for the game. Directly tampering, changing, or modifying any of the game's files, which the process of modding is actually against the terms and services of Marvel Rivals. Not surprising, this is standard protocol for any online game. And even if the mod in question is simply just cosmetic to change the model of an in-game character, which a lot of the time doesn't provide any additional extra advantage or benefit to the player, it's still deemed as tampering with the game's files, which does make you susceptible to a ban. Now here's the thing about this, I have tried my absolute best to find an instance of NetEase actually banning someone for using skin-related mods. And while I'm absolutely sure that a small handful of players probably have been banned at this stage, it's definitely not commonplace. Now, this is not to say start modding the game to your heart's content, because again, you are putting yourself at risk. You might be one of the small handful of people that end up getting banned through using these mods, and it's very possible that NetEase might be planning a ban wave for any of the players that have been detected modifying the game's files. Like a lot of games, this uses anti-cheat, and this system, depending on the level of security that NetEase have implemented into Marvel Rivals version of it, can pick up as to whether or not a player has tampered with the files. The game actually uses NetEase's very own anti-cheat system, which is known as NGS, NetEase Gaming Security. Though funnily enough, what I can find out about this security system is that it isn't actually that great, which might be why people aren't actually facing bans for using these mods. Remember that this is still very much early days for the game. By Season 1, a lot more things will be implemented in the sense of the actual rules and what people can and can't do with the game. Because not only are we seeing skin or cosmetic related mods being a really popular thing at the moment, like some of the download numbers over on the Nexus are in the multiple thousands. 43,000 people have downloaded the Magic Nude mod. Nice. But both game performance along with control mods for PC are incredibly popular as well. These are a little bit more though intense than something like a cosmetic mod, as technically, yes, you are providing the player with an advantage over anyone else that's not using mods by installing a performance or control based mod. To give an example, Marvel Rivals isn't really the most optimized game. It is using UE5, but there is a lot of issues with it being incredibly CPU dependent. So because of this, it's quite hard for people to achieve an incredibly high frame rate, which of course is what you want if you're playing an online shooter. There are mods out there that disable certain things within the game's engine that you otherwise wouldn't be able to from the settings menu. And in terms of the control-based mods, mouse acceleration is probably the most popular one here. A lot of people don't like mouse acceleration, and generally there is an option within a lot of video games to actually enable or disable this. It's a lot easier to aim if mouse acceleration is turned off. So the only way to disable mouse acceleration, as it's not a setting within the settings menu, is to directly configure the game config file. Now NetEase have mentioned that they do plan on implementing a proper mouse acceleration option within the settings menu in a future update. There's a bunch of other additional options too that might provide a slight benefit. And while these are all very basic, normal things that should be implemented by NetEase themselves, it is still deemed as tampering with the game's files and providing a player with a slight advantage over those who aren't tampering with their own files. The reason why so many people are confused about this though is because this is becoming an incredibly popular thing, yet NetEase haven't actually made a proper public announcement about primarily looking at cosmetic-based mods. However, we do have some responses from NetEase themselves from players asking the support team over on Discord if something like this is okay or not. The question asked here was, even though it's mentioned within the terms of service that modifying game files is against the rules, is it okay to install cosmetic skin mods, audio changes, or performance enhancements? The support team mentioned, we do not encourage or support players modifying client files to achieve features that are not supported in the current version. Please wait patiently for future official support. Now that's more so in regards to the performance enhancements. Regarding the methods of modifying the clients that are currently circulating in the player community, we will implement restrictions on such behaviors in future updates to protect the game's ecosystem. So that's basically the official response that you should know. It does seem as if Netease are trying to create a countermeasure of allowing players to directly install UE pack files, which are the modification files used to modify Unreal Engine related games, along with stopping people from directly editing and adding to the game's config file by simply just officially implementing those features into the game anyway. Here's the thing though, the bulk of mods that players are currently installing and using aren't to the same level of straight up wall hacks or aim hacks. And because there's such a large amount of people currently using these mods, I really can't imagine Netease doing a ban wave, removing thousands and thousands of players from the game, but rather just making a PSA when the restrictions towards these kinds of modifications are officially implemented, let's say beginning in Season 1 of next month. If then you decide to further mod the game after the PSA, a ban then is totally possible. Here's my recommendation though, if you are looking at modding Marvel Rivals for the time being, absolutely do it on an alt account. Another question that I was also getting a lot was, do other players get to see the mods that I have installed? No, you are only modifying your own independent local files. This is completely client-side. So let's say we've changed Spider-Man to look like Homer Simpson. For you on your screen, he'll appear as Homer Simpson. But for all of the other players, because they haven't modified their own files, you'll still look like Spider-Man. Because I know a lot of people are worried about being reported for using these kinds of mods. There is absolutely no way for any of the other players in your match to know that you're currently using any skin or cosmetic based modifications. One other thing I will mention as to why I do believe that Netease are probably going to stamp down really hard on the cosmetic related mods is because Marvel Rivals is a Disney owned product. Now there's a ton, and I mean a ton of NSFW mods that already exist for the game. Like if you want, you can be Moon Knight running around with his moon stick hanging out. Some of them are just pretty far out there. Like the other day I came across a Jeff the Land Shark nude mod. I'm sorry, what? I just cannot imagine that Disney are going to want to put up with one of their products being represented in such ways, because honestly, some of these NSFW mods are that detailed where it seems as if the mod creators have spent literal days on end fine crafting the fine details, as if they're some omnipotent god crafting a brand new specimen to introduce into the world. Apart from maybe Fallout and Skyrim, I have quite literally never seen models this high detailed when it comes to NSFW. It's, to be fair, honestly kind of impressive. Maybe Netease should actually look at hiring some of these guys, but I'd absolutely say that Disney have probably already made a call to Netease to ask them to kindly start implementing something and get onto it as soon as possible. However guys, that's all you need to know about mods for the time being. If you are wanting to install some of these for yourself, it's incredibly easy. It's just a matter of finding the content folder within the main Marvel Rivals folder. Find the packed folder, from there create a brand new folder with the squiggly line, then write mods, and any of the mods you download will be in pack file format. You just simply drag and drop them into your mods folder. It's incredibly straightforward and takes almost no time. If you want to remove a mod, it's as easy as just simply deleting that pack file within the mod folder. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. Be sure to drop a like as it helps me out a lot, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. A big thank you to my wonderful patrons. I appreciate the continued support. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and we'll talk again real soon.